Hey everyone, it's Mandy with 2 E's, and you've come to my show, Simply Rent It, which is also the name of my business. I am your professional licensed rental consultant who has a deep passion for helping landlord investors save time, gain knowledge, and reduce risk without having to spend a ton of money hiring a full-time property manager. On this show, you'll learn all the tips and tricks you need for your investment property journey. And on today's show, we are going to cover the Iowa moratorium that was put in place and evictions. There's some new data that has come out, some new information from Davis Brown Law Firm, and that's based here in Ames, Iowa. And I just read the article. It's pretty long, so I thought I could summarize it for you. But I'll also link the article in the show notes below, so you can check it out in further detail. And they have a link to a prior post that they made just the other day as well that goes into even more detail. But I think that this information is very important for any landlord that currently has tenants, especially those who are struggling making payments or weren't able to pay because they were laid off or for whatever reason during the pandemic, where a lot of people have shifted how they're working and are working from home or have taken pay cuts, whatever the case may be. This information is really important, so make sure you stay tuned. Okay, so I have a bunch of notes to my left here because the article was quite in depth, but as of yesterday, the Iowa moratorium officially expired, but there is a federal moratorium still in place. So as of today, evictions in Iowa can move forward being filed as usual, but there are some things that have actually been put in place that you need to be made aware of. And I also just want to state before going any further into this video that I am not a lawyer and this is not legal advice. This is information I found from a attorney's website, Davis Brown Law Firm. And again, I said I would link it below so you can check it out, but this is just for informational purposes only. If you are doing an eviction in this time, I think it would be very important to seek legal counsel so you're covered, at least for the first time around. If you have to do more than one, I hope that you don't, because evictions are no fun for anyone. So I'm going to reference my notes over here from time to time, but I wanted to let you know what everything is that's going on. So the new thing that's put in place is called a CARES Act, or they have put a /CARES Act /federal moratorium. And you'll need to decide if this pertains to your property or not. So the first one is if you have a tenancy in place that is or was subject to Section 8 or USDA Housing Choice Voucher. That would be one way of deciding if you're covered under the CARE Act. The next one, item number 2, is if your rental property is subject to a federal program such as public housing, project-based Section 8 housing, Section 202 elderly housing, Section 811 housing for people with disabilities, Section 236 multifamily rental housing, low-income housing tax credit, LIHTC program, and other federal housing programs. Again, all of this is referenced from their article, and I'm just trying to summarize it for you and put it into words because it was a very long article. So the next one is item number 3, if your rental property is secured by a mortgage issued or guaranteed by one of the following: Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, an FHA loan, a VA loan, Veterans Administration loan, USDA direct loan, or a USDA guaranteed loan, you would be covered under the CARE Act. And the last one is if you as a landlord received a mortgage forbearance for the property, for your rental property, from March 27th through December 31st of the end of this year. So if you had any of those categories, you would be covered under this CARE Act. And so if any of the above situations apply to your rental, that means that during the 120-day moratorium period that expires on July 25th, 2020, you as a landlord are prohibited from initiating any legal action for recover or possession of the dwelling because of the tenant's non-payment or rent or other fees or charges. So then it goes into a couple other items which I think are important. So you cannot charge late fees, extra charges, or penalties for non-payment of rent if you're covered under any of those. And you cannot proceed with other types. You can. The second item says you can proceed with other types of eviction actions, such as tenants' non-compliance with the lease or rules. So to summarize, if you're covered under the CARE Act at all, the eviction makes it so you can't file until it expires, right? And you can't charge any fees or put any penalties on them for non-payment of rent. But if you have a resident or a tenant that is renting and they're breaking the rules of the lease, then it is okay to move forward with filing for eviction based on a different aspect besides just paying for rent. So if your property is not covered by the CARE Act, then all evictions, regardless of the grounds for supporting the eviction, can be initiated as of today. As of yesterday, the 28th. Got my days mixed up. So for all new evictions, here's what you need to know moving forward. All notices normally required under Iowa law are to be provided to the tenant prior to commencement of an eviction action. They're still required. And this includes non-payment notices, material breach notices, notices to quit, and other notices. The second item is you'll need to decide whether you're going to apply for eviction for just the last month of rent that was past due, or for all the months of rent that were past due that the tenant didn't pay beginning on March 20th through May 27th. And the article highly suggests that you consult an attorney on this. And I think it's important you do so if you're in this situation. So, and then the third item says that your hearing will most likely not be heard any earlier than July 13th. So they have quite a bit of backlog, and that's probably the earliest that you'll get in. I would plan for something later than that. It's just a FYI type thing. So moving forward, for all new evictions, you will need to file the CARE Act landlord verification form for all new evictions. And they have a link with some information on how to fill that out. From what I read in this article, it seems like it can be a very confusing form. There's a lot more steps to go through in order to do the eviction now. And so make sure you check out the form that has the step-by-step guide on how to do it. And the positive thing that I got out of this article is that if you do make a mistake for whatever reason, you are allowed to, in court trial, to explain and correct that. Whereas before, if you didn't post notices correctly or serve them correctly, your case was just thrown out and you had to start all over. So that's not the case here, and that's pretty awesome that the courts are allowing you to fix a mistake that you may have done when you filed, because there are a bunch of new steps and new rules. So I think that's pretty awesome. Again, that I just wanted to give you kind of an update on what's going on with evictions in Iowa, and you as a landlord, what you need to be looking for in order to protect yourself, and what you need to do moving forward. So again, this is not legal advice. I am not a licensed attorney or lawyer. This is for informational purposes only, and really I'm just summarizing the article I read from the Davis Brown law firm. So if you have any questions or concerns, I highly suggest you reach out to them or your attorney that you already have. And I wish you the best of luck in any of these situations, as evictions are no fun for anyone. So thank you so much for watching this video. My next video will be going over an update for the market for next time, and until then, I will see you next Friday. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye-bye.